Clementine?
Hi, Brian and Jessica. Have you come to help me plant my new crops?
Yep, and to learn about verbs.
Oh, that's right. I promised you another grammar lesson.
I've heard of verbs, but I'm not exactly sure what they are.
That's okay. A lot of people get confused with verbs. Hopefully I'll be able to make things a bit clearer for you.
I hope so. Hey, can verbs help me give better speeches?
Speeches? Are you giving a speech?
Yeah, Jessica joined the speech club and she's stressed out that she won't be able to do a good job. There are competitions.
Yes, and I really want to win. I want the speech trophy so bad.
Oh, I see. Yes, using precise verbs can help create a great speech.
Do you think I can win?
Well, it's possible. You're very capable, so if you put your mind to it, you can do very well.
But I want to win. And I'm just so very worried that I won't.
Well, I can see that winning is important to you. What's more important, though, is doing your very best and feeling good about your effort. We can't always control the way things turn out, but there's a very good chance that if we lay the right foundation and tend to the needs of the task at hand, we'll reap the rewards.
Are we still talking about winning the speech contest? Sorta sounds like you're talking about gardening. You used words like tend and reap.
You're very perceptive, Jessica. I think that gardening can serve very well as a metaphor for any type of learning and growth in our lives.
My grandpa tells me I'm growing like a weed. He also calls me a little sprout sometimes.
Your grandpa was a farmer, so he knows that weeds grow fast, just like you. And sprouts are young plants, like you two young'uns. I agree with him. Gardening is a great metaphor for life.
So it sounds like we're going to learn about gardening, verbs, and life. Is that right? I just really hope some of it will help me win this speech contest.
Of course. Little Jessica, you're like a seedling just growing its roots. There are a lot of challenges that will come your way to test you, but you'll grow stronger each time you get past them. Set your worries aside for now. Let's focus on gardening. I find it restores the mind.
Sounds like fun. I like to dig in the dirt.
So, I thought the best way to teach you about both gardening and verbs is to first tell you what verbs do, and then teach you the verbs associated with gardening. How does that sound?
That sounds great. I love learning new words.
First, there are a few types of verbs, such as action, linking, helping, and modals. But today we're going to focus on action verbs. Action verbs play an important role in a sentence. They show what has been done, what's being done, or what will be done.
Oh, like past, present, and future.
Exactly. Verbs not only tell us what is being done, but also when it's being done.
That can be very helpful.
Indeed. The last thing I wanted to mention about verbs, and this can help with speeches and writing, is that it's important to use the most precise verb when describing an action. So, when I'm talking about gardening, I can say, I'm going to feed my plants. Or if I want to be more precise, I'd say, I'm going to fertilize my plants. You see, they both mean the same thing, but fertilize is much clearer and more appropriate than feed.
I get it. It's like in basketball, I could say, I'm throwing the ball through the hoop, but it's better for me to say, I'm shooting a hoop.
Very good, Brian. The fewer words we can use to say something in a very clear manner, the better. In terms of speeches, it adds credibility if you can use the precise verb.
Oh, I get it. It makes me sound more like an authority if I can use the right verb to explain something.
Yep. Okay, so let's talk about this plot of land here. Here is the list of gardening verbs that I'll use to explain the planting process. The first thing I need to do is till the soil. This is when I use the rake to break up the soil and turn it over.
Why is that important?
Good question, Brian. It's probably the hardest part of planting, but it's definitely one of the most important. It's preparing the foundation. When I till the earth, I'm breaking up hard soil so that the seeds I plant can grow roots more easily. It also aerates the soil, another important verb in gardening, which means it increases air circulation. It also allows me to do the next step, which is to amend the soil.
Amend? Is that a verb? What does it mean?
Yes, it's a very precise verb that means to improve.
Why do you have to improve the soil? Didn't you just plant corn that came out delicious? We bought some and grilled them on the barbecue. They tasted so good.
Well, in order for crops to grow and bear delicious fruit, they need to leach nutrients from the soil. Corn is a heavy feeder, so it leaches nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium from the soil. I have to amend the soil by adding those nutrients back. I have a bag of soil amendment here that includes those nutrients.
Wow, you have to know a lot about soil to grow healthy plants.
Yep. Farmers have made mistakes in the past by not amending the soil or rotating crops, which resulted in terrible shortages of food.
How do you rotate a crop?
That just means to plant something different in the soil that replenishes the nutrients. So, as part of my planning for what to plant here, I had to decide which crop would grow best.
What did you decide?
Well, we have a few options, but I think peas would be nice.
Why peas?
Peas are legumes, so they put nitrogen back into the soil.
Oh, I see. The corn leached the nitrogen, so peas will put it back. That's so smart.
Yep. So these are the pea seeds. In order to help them grow, I soak them in water overnight. This will help them germinate faster.
Germinate. Is that another gardening verb?
It sure is. Once these grow a bit, I'll need to add some support for them. But for now, we'll just sow the seeds into the ground. The package directions say to sow the seeds 1 inch deep and 3 inches apart.
This is the fun part.
Yeah. It's exciting to imagine this field full of peas.
We won't have to imagine for too long. Peas take about 2 months to grow, and then we can harvest them. In the meantime, we'll need to make sure to water them regularly and weed as necessary. As they grow taller, I'll need to stake them up to keep them from flopping over.
Will you need to fertilize them?
Well, the last step for us today is to mulch the soil. This keeps moisture in, encourages our earthworm friends to come in and naturally fertilize the soil, and keeps weeds out. This is usually all I have to do instead of having to fertilize.
The garden looks so great. We learned so much today about gardening and also about gardening verbs.
Yeah. The things we do when planting seeds are all verbs. It makes sense.
That's right, Brian. It's really not that complicated at all.
And you know what I just realized? I'm not so worried about winning the speech trophy. If I just follow the steps in writing my speech and preparing for the contest, just like you've done with preparing the soil for planting peas, then I should do my very best.
That's very wise, Jessica. It's true, though. We've planted these seeds in good soil, and we'll care for them until they bear fruit. Not all will bear the same amount, but the chances are very high that they will all produce delicious peas.
We just have to do our part and let nature take care of the rest.
Wise words, little Brian. Thanks for all your help today.